the break, we asked which city has just overtaken Tokyo as the world's most populated city, and we gave you Jakarta, Shanghai, New Delhi. It is, in Indonesia, Jakarta. Again, welcome back to the show with Nilofer and Brian. Very lively today. And I'm delighted to say we are joined by the journalist and author Andy Webb. And I'm going to show you his book here, which is called Dianarama. Now, Andy worked as a reporter for the BBC for over 15 years, and this is his book. And congratulations, because it's an important work, isn't it?
I'd like to think so. Thank you.
Because it's an important subject for the BBC, as we know, 30 years after the broadcast of the infamous Panorama interview with Princess Diana. We now know a lot more about how Martin Bashir got it, and it's pretty much all bad.
Yes, it's difficult to find good in there. That is true, absolutely. I mean,
so what trickery did he use?
Well, where do you start? I mean, he used... Well, OK, the trickery he used included things such as persuading Princess Diana that Prince Charles, now King Charles, was going to have her murdered. And indeed, not just her, but Camilla, now Queen Camilla. He sought to persuade her that the then Queen was going to abdicate in 6 months' time. All of this, Jeremy, it's so important to remember that the Panorama interview that a lot of people will remember, November the 20th, 1995, Diana with the black eye makeup and so on and so forth. It wasn't an interview at all, in the sense that, an interview is somebody like you seeking information from somebody else. It was a double act, a performance that Diana had been if you put some modern language around this, she had been coercively controlled. She had been groomed. She'd been gaslighted.
And we're not playing parts. We're not even showing sort of the moving pictures, because it's obviously caused so much pain to, well, BBC doesn't matter in that respect, but to William and Harry and the family, that she gave the interview, she was tricked into it, and then she died. And is the death of Diana linked in some way to the interview, do you think?
Well, I do, but what I think is not of that much interest. What her brother thinks, Charles Spencer thinks, I think is of great interest. And I put that, he was working with me closely in writing the book. I put the question to him. He answers very calmly, very intelligently, and concluding his answer by saying, yes, I think the consequences of this interview were lethal. And they were lethal because of the lies that Bashir had told Diana. She shunned all the people around her, the wise, sage people, in particular her private secretary, Patrick Jeffson. Her chauffeur was gone, and all the formal security, etc., etc. So 18 months or so later, there she is in Paris, being driven by a drunken driver who's speeding, and then the fatal accident occurs. So it was Diana's, she had been told not to trust the people around her, and she didn't, and they weren't around her in Paris 18 months later.
And yeah, it's just so nasty. And when as a BBC person, I find it impossible to understand that Bashir firstly told all those lies to her, but then he even got somebody who was actually, there's Mr. Bashir now, whose obviously career is completely over. He even got a graphics designer to fake checks to prove his story that people had been paid to give information on Diana. And then the graphics designer lost his career as well.
Well, he did. And when you get to that point, it wasn't Martin Bashir who sacked the graphic designer.
Well, that's true.
It was a quite other set of people. And I think what I've really, concentrated on in the book is not so much yes, of course, I explain what Martin Bashir did, but the crucial moment in this whole saga, for me and indeed for Diana's family, came at the moment when the BBC bosses, the people who we do assume have that moral compass.
Tony Hall and co, yeah.
Exactly. There was a point where they didn't know all the terrible things about the death threat, the death plots and all that. They didn't know all that. But what they did know was that Martin Bashir had commissioned forged documents, as you say. He had deployed the forged documents to a member of the public, Charles Spencer, and he'd lied about it. That is what they knew. but they didn't brief Princess Diana on what they knew. And I say, well, why not? Why didn't you?
Well, they didn't want to lose the scoop, did they? I mean, Brian, you've probably been watching this, Brian, for years, thinking, what on? Can this get any worse?
Well, I was a great friend of the late reigning Countess Spencer, who was often misrepresented in the media.
That's her mum, isn't it?
And of course, she was quite close to Diana at the end of her life. They used to lunch together, and I begged Rain to write her memoirs, but she wouldn't. But I think Diana was a very complicated person, and she just wanted it all. And you can't have it all in life. You can't have everything in life.
So was she? You're saying she made a mistake in going into the interview, and
well, she was. I'm not sure she's the world's brightest person. I mean, would you agree?
This is grossly unfair. If the BBC, forgive me, if David Attenborough were to come up to me and whisper that somebody's taken a contract out on your life, and I've got some documents here to prove it.
Would you believe them?
Would you believe him? I think I would act in. Yes, I think I probably would. And that's what Diana did. It wasn't that she wanted it all. It's that the BBC had convinced her that her husband was going to kill her. Yeah. That's the truth.
I mean, you have to be a little bit gullible to believe that your ex-husband's going to want you killed, don't you?
Well, I mean, in the end, she as Andy says, when it comes from the BBC, which is most of the time a trusted source, I think you would go with it. And she was described as the last great silent movie queen. We barely heard her speaking. So I remember what a sensation this was.
Yes.
I was sent to a pub called the Princess of Wales for my first appearance on Newsnight to get the reaction. It was that big. They were all watching it in the pub like a sports show.
But you can't underestimate how popular and famous and powerful he was. Bashir was a powerhouse, and
was he? Not until he was nobody until that
just
interview.
a BBC hack, not to be rude, but
he was a powerhouse, was he?
He was a powerhouse in the mastery of what he did. Absolutely. Yeah, okay. There's no. I mean,
he was extremely skilled at what he did.
I'm amazed that he did it.
He wasn't a famous person before the interview, and then of course he went on to Michael Jackson's interview. But he was a powerhouse. He was pummeling through the BBC's structures and safeguards and editorial policies, and he managed to create a space where he created a reality that surrounded her, I feel. I don't know who wouldn't be susceptible to that. Such a tragedy.
I agree. And you must, when you watch it now, that interview, which isn't shown anymore, how do you feel, Andy, watching it? What do you feel you're watching?
Well, I think, let's say, again, I'm going to say less of interest what I feel. It's what someone like Prince William might feel. And Prince William, you remember, he made his TV statement when the official report came out. And I don't think we listened nearly closely enough to what he was saying that day.
I think we've got a clip. We've got the clip of Prince William. Let's have a look at this.
It brings indescribable sadness to know that the BBC's failures contributed significantly to her fear, paranoia and isolation that I remember from those final years with her. She was failed not just by a rogue reporter, but by leaders at the BBC who looked the other way rather than asking the tough questions.
Yeah,
I mean, that's absolutely critical. I mean, normally royal statements from royals, they're passed and analysed like enigma decrypts. I don't think we listened nearly closely enough to that, because what he's saying there is she was failed not just by a rogue reporter, Martin Bashir, but leaders at the BBC who looked the other way. They didn't look the right way and their vision was clouded. They looked the other way. Yeah. And that is, I'm sorry, but that's what my book dwells on.
That's great. Well, it's a very good note to end this bit on. Thank you very much, Andy. Stay with us. There's the book, Dianarama, available now wherever you get your great books. Stay with us. We'll look at the papers, some other stories. Telegraph, Nellifer. Eco-activist placed Southern Water Chief under citizen's arrest. Here we go again.
Yes, I absolutely love this story. So they're called the Citizens Arrest Network, and they go around arresting people they believe have deeply failed the British people. And a citizen's arrest is a legal thing. It's in British law.
It is legal. I never know whether... Can I arrest you now if I fancy it?
If you thought that I'd committed a crime, you certainly could.
You
can't. I don't think you can apprehend me, so I don't think you can touch me, but I think you can stop me from leaving.
Let's have a look at the actual arrest of the water boss.
Lawrence Gosden, you are under citizen's arrest. I believe that you have committed and are on your way to commit further crimes of public nuisance. This is a very serious matter. We want to know what you want to say to the People on the beach at Camber Sands cleaning up the bio beads.
I'm so sorry, but can I please make my way to my meeting?
People are absolutely sick of it, Mr. Gosden.
Please don't constrain me. Please don't constrain me.
Mr.
Would you get him spread-eagled on the floor?
Big claims there. No, probably
you
not.
wouldn't touch
I'm not
him.
brave enough, but I have done a lot of...
citizen's arrest where you don't touch them is pointless.
It's tricky.
You've got to restrain him.
Can you see in that photo, they've got a circle around him, basically, because I don't think you're allowed to touch a person. You have to wait for the police to come and arrest them.
This is such a strange country.
love it.
These people are a social nuisance,
What
aren't
are you
they?
talking
They're
about?
a social
They're
nuisance.
defending you.
They're not defending me.
Certainly are.
not defending me.
You don't want plastic beads when you're on a
Or
beach.
sewage in your
Of course I don't, but
oceans
this
or in your
is
rivers.
this isn't the way to do it. Of
course
I mean,
it
they've
is.
been hassling public figures for years and years. Public figures going about their legitimate, lawful business, and here we have a case. These people are a pain in the backside.
Andy,
Don't
where do
even
you want to
start.
call this one, Andy? Where are you on this?
I don't know. If I'd have been the ladies, I think I'd have thrown a bucket of southern water over it and held my nose, I think.
Well, that would probably
That's a
be
crime.
a crime. Yeah, sorry. We can't do that either. And he's not the first, though, Brian, is he? So you're seeing this pattern of...
They've done it, everybody, I think, the chief of the defence staff downwards, haven't they?
They've done a lot, yeah.
And if you're in public life, you should be able to go about your legitimate business without this sort of interference.
Even if you're engaged in what they think is criminal activity.
It is criminal.
What
It's
they
been
think
found.
is criminal activity.
They
think they're just a pressure group. Well, they're a pressure group. They think it's against breaking the law.
Right.
Go on, you're moving your paper around.
Gesticulating
No, that's fine.
fervently.
You can do it. I like
Gesticulating fervently.
Yeah.
The point is they're bringing things into attention that would normally absolutely not be in the public attention.
Oh,
and
I'm
I
sorry.
think they're doing a great job.
Polluted water and water companies are constantly in the news. You can't say they don't merit public attention.
If I go swimming in a beach, I take a look on the Dirty Beaches app. Oh, yeah, I know. Got to see whether it's clean or not. And it probably, if it's dirty, I'll just go in anyway. Andy in the Telegraph, Macron in France may make military service mandatory. This is interesting.
It is, because, I mean, just when we thought that we got the French down, the cheese-eating surrender-mongers, it turns out that President Macron is, as you say, thinking about, conscription.
Yeah.
But this is a really disturbing story for me, because they have Russia in their sights. And I'm thinking, France, Russia... Last time they tried that didn't end well.
What was Napoleon and all that?
Absolutely, and it didn't kind of end well.
But the French are, no disrespect, but they were not ready the last time. World War II, they were still on horseback, and I'm not even joking.
They built the Maginot Line.
They had the Maginot
Which was
Line.
allegedly going to hold Germany off.
That's right, but it was a
Germans
series
just went
of
round it.
underground bunkers, and there was a lot of cheese and wine down there, and they didn't come out. And the Blitz lasted 5 weeks, and they were in Paris. So I can see why that history means they've got to get ready.
And apparently, the head of the new defence chief, or General Fabien Mandon, has said that France must be prepared to lose its children in a war with Russia.
That didn't go down well. Cheesemongers to warmongers.
Well,
But I mean, how many kids? Is his kids going to be on the front line? I don't like that kind of talk. Brian, should we do the same? Should we put people on work experience in the army?
Well, there's something to be said for that. But I think we forget, those of your viewers who went to remembrance parades, which I suspect is many of your viewers the other week, will have seen cadets up and down the country, young men and women from all sections of society in the cadets, willing to serve in the cadets. Some of those will go into the armed forces and will serve the country. And so there is a large group of young people out there willing to commit.
Cadets, yeah. I mean, cadets is a good way to start, yeah. And by the way, we were told the army was going to grow because of the threat from Russia. We've now just learned, this is the Telegraph, military grew by only 240 people in the past year. So they're losing a few.
Do we know how many people? I couldn't tell how many people left.
Well, I can't.
What's the net number here?
Does it matter?
Yes, because if more people are leaving the military than the 240 that have just signed on,
for sure, yeah,
we're
yeah.
in trouble.
We've taken our armed forces for granted for too many decades. Governments of both parties have taken, whether it's their housing, whether it's their benefits when they leave the armed forces, whether it's the support they're given, whether it's the support the families are given.
Totally agree.
Men are on active service, or men and women are on active service. The families are left at home and
Yeah. I mean, when I cycle in, I go past John Lewis, famous department store, and I see 20 homeless people outside, and I think, I'm really hoping none of them are military, but I bet some are.
Yeah.
I've got to say, I mean, the numbers, though, I mean, it's just fascinating. But what you do learn from, wars, unfortunately, wars occur, and war fighting changes. We learned from the Ukraine conflict that drones are the thing.
Although it's kind of medieval, though.
I'm sorry?
Ukraine it's quite medieval. It's sort of boots on the ground.
Sure, but drones trumped tanks in Ukraine, and I'm wondering of the net number of army soldiers, whether that 76,000 army soldiers, like. China, I dare say, has about 76 million. So I'm not going to, guys...
I'm not sure their army's ever done anything, the Chinese army. Has it won a war? I don't know.
Let's hope it never does.
Well, I mean, they march very in a great formation, but I'm not sure they've ever really done much. Alexis is in for Storm a bit later. He's going to be taking your calls on this. He'll be asking whether we should pay teenagers to do military training. That's Brian's cadets for you. 0207 862 2222. Then there's the BBC story here online. Town left in the dark without Christmas lights. The local Rotary Club was putting the lights up, but it had to basically collect lights and give them to the council to put up, health and safety. The council said, we need some money to do it, and the Rotary Club says we can't afford it. The town's Christmas lights are owned by the club, which says it believes they have been a welcome feature for many years. The Rotary Club said in a statement it reluctantly decided not to provide Christmas lights in the town. That's it. What do you think, Brian?
Well, as a former Rotarian of many years standing, I sympathise with the Rotary Club, but this is a change in society. Health and safety, legislation, all the rest of it. In the old days, you got the local Rotary Club in to do these jobs, like deal with the Christmas lights. These days, it's either done professionally or it's not done at all.
Well, that may be changing. No, I think that's changing. They're now saying repair your potholes. It's McCuntleth, by the way, in Mid Wales. Do you think Christmas lights are important, or should councils just do their main duty, which is to care for old people?
Yes.
I'm sorry, that's not
yes
council's main duty.
Whichever is the most benign.
No, but I mean, you could say Christmas lights are more important than anything else.
The price has quadrupled. The council wants £1,600 plus VAT. It used to be $400.
Well, exactly. Yeah.
Why are they asking for so much money?
Well,
how much
That seems very reasonable to me, £1,600.
Oh, come on.
Have you had an electrician in recently?
I feel sorry for them. No Christmas lights.
It's the electricians who go on the naughty list here, because they are the people they've quadrupled, as you say, they've quadrupled the fee. And they can't have the lights. So
that's exactly right.
Bah
OK,
humbug.
I want to show you this. This is a theft in Scotland. If you leave anything and it's not chained down, have a look at this. Someone's got a model Nutcracker. This is a soldier. And it's a guy on an electric bike is going to take it off its perch, put it across his saddle, presumably ride home with it and sleep with it or something. I don't know. What would you do with that?
Well, you could hardly display it in your front garden or flog it in the local pub, can you?
You have to have the stiffest possible penalty for that. He can't. He's damaging it on the way out.
What did those two Did you see those two people walking behind him?
Yeah,
they did nothing.
But would you intervene on that? Somebody stealing a Nutcracker?
Yeah. I'm a firm believer that Nutcrackers must be left where they are.
Right, well, that's true enough. Andy, would you intervene if somebody did that in front of you? I bet you would.
I'd make my citizen's arrest.
Andy and I would hold hands around him.
I'd call the council in.
Yeah, OK, right, there we go. Well, Andy, thanks so much for joining our crazy little show here. There is the book, and tells the whole story of the awful situation around that Diana interview, which we never show anymore. The Beeps was for a long time known as the BBC's best ever interview. Indeed. And now, well, of course, that now goes to Andrew Maitlis, doesn't it? We'll have more after the break when Alexis will join us. We'll find out about the Dorset beauty spot that's installed a chatty bench.